How do I 38 male get my girlfriend 38 female to start acting as an equal in our relationship? Not sure what to do with my relationship. I'm 38 male and she's 38 female. How do I get my girlfriend to start treating me like an equal partner in our relationship? I am with someone I really love. Like, I love the shit out of this person, she's hilarious and crass and the body type one like. She hits like every checkbox I can think of. But lately I am just not able to look past some of the stuff in our relationship. I work crazy long hours and so does she. I own my own firm and have 5 employees. She runs a sales company and has at least 2 intense flash auctions a month for clients and spends dozens of hours per week after her day shift prepping items for auction. She recently moved in with me and I'm noticing a lot of behavior that she is not addressing even after numerous conversations and fights. To start, our sex life is lackluster and she blames sexual trauma from many years ago. I have given her a ton of leeway here, including mandated 3-month hiatuses from any sex. No matter what I do or ask or how, or when I ask, there's no reciprocity for oral or hand stuff, and sex is usually doggy style with a vibrator until she gets off, and then it's a rush to finish for me as fast as possible to get it over with. Around the house she doesn't really clean up much or do laundry. I had a roommate that she asked me to evict because he was a slob. No problem there, she said she would make up the lost rent and all. But it's been 3 months and there's never been any offer to pay anything towards the rent or utilities. Since roommate moved out, it's cleaner, but I'm still doing all the cleaning. I might work 6 a.m. till 11:30 p.m. and I get home to the same state of the house as when I left. Our house is getting cluttered with shit she brings home from her sales and then never cleans up. E.g., there's a laptop stand sitting on our kitchen table that was opened and then immediately discarded about 6 weeks ago. No attempt at all has been made to move or use or dispose of it. She keeps bringing home furniture with no plan to get rid of the old furniture. Currently I have 6 different end tables, 2 dressers and 2 TV stands. I can barely get through the hallway without bumping into shit. Her solution to many of these problems is to just hire people to deal with it. But then she only makes $2,000 per month from her business and it's basically a cost to me. I do fine, so it's not an issue, but the expectation is annoying and not very equitable in my eyes. The other issue we seem to have is that she makes a lot of space for her shitty friends. Yesterday she said she was going to her friend's house to hang out, and it being one of my only evenings off I expressed that I was disappointed she wouldn't be around after my 7 o'clock appointment. I got home around 10:30 and basically said good night by text and then sent a pretty text half an hour later saying that this was exactly what I expected when she said she was going to her friends, namely no communication all evening and no girlfriend around until the next morning. So morning comes and I have my kids coming over at 10 for the weekend, and of course there's no groceries in the house. So I have to get up at 8 to go shopping for food for the household and come back to her laying in bed saying she has a headache and has basically been having a migraine for the last 3 days. Or in other words, she's going to stay in bed, we're not getting intimate, and I should leave her alone to sleep it off. Later that day we're out to meet her friend and their kids for a day at the park. She left to her mom's house to feed the cat at 10:30 and doesn't message me until 12:45 that she had to lay down to try and get rid of her headache. I'm furiously prepping day stuff for the kids, including snacks and water, lunch, dinner for everyone, toys, hats, sunscreen, picnic blanket, soupe for after we get home, etc. Made lunch and breakfast for everyone and the kids and tossed the food I prepped for her that she never came back to. Day at the park is fine, she's engaged, chatting with her friend, seems like she's back to normal, until the minute we walk in the house she lays down in bed and says her headache is still really bad. So I finish making ribs for the kids, baked potatoes, separate salad for her and I, set the table, and then go in to get her. She wants me to lay in bed and cuddle her, but I said I need to get supper out because it's already late and the kids need to eat, settle, bathe, and get ready for bed. She's out for about half an hour, eats her dinner, then goes back to bed. I clean the table, do the dishes, put in a load of laundry, get the kids into the bath, teeth brushed, bedtime story, swap the laundry and then take my evening smoke. She's still in bed and I know this means no sex tonight, so I'm going to spend the evening catching up on some work and then we'll get up tomorrow to run the household all over again. Oh, and I forgot, tomorrow we're taking the kids to the circus at 1:30. Right before we leave my girlfriend offers to get up early to help her friend stake out a cross-country run by driving her out of town and hammering in 4-foot stakes because her friend's car isn't big enough. I feel very low on the priority list in this person's life and my work has me at the end of my rope already. I try to tell her I need more support and she promises to help me with my stuff or help more around the house, but it's always subject to her work and her time with her friends or family. For clarity, I have 2 kids and an ex-wife. I have no parents, siblings, grandparents, or any other family I am in touch with. I have let my social life slip lately to stay on top of my work so I don't get disbarred. I don't know what to do anymore. You are in a relationship with someone who is not in a relationship with you. She is living her own life in your home at your expense. You know what to do. Learn boundaries. Kick her out. Break up. Throw her out, she's a leech. You are her live in char and financier. Not her boyfriend. Set up some deal-breaker boundaries or get out of the relationship. Well, the kids part was not her responsibility, but the rest is. Why don't you start charging her more rent? It's not really up to her to offer. She already offered and you haven't seemed to take her up on it. And you need to sit her down and negotiate a chore chart and some boundaries for stuff. Make her financial contributions clear and leave her to figure it out. You're not really talking this out, are you? My 37M ex-wife, 30F, is about to be homeless and has asked to live with me and my son. Edit. Getting a resounding, absolutely not, which makes me feel a bit better, honestly. I mean, I was leaning that way. But I also know that I am deep in the forest, and having an outsider's perspective really helps. Thanks, guys. I am going to go through and answer any questions I see, in an hour or so. Well, buckle up, friends, because my life's fever dream is about to get weird. I will be as brief as possible, but I am still trying to figure out what to do here, which is why I am posting. Also, to preface, I am leaning towards no, but I wanted to see if I was missing anything. And this is wild. Backstory A brief backstory. 3 years ago, during COVID, my ex-wife, Petunia, cheated on me. We have 1 young son and have been married for 7 years. I tried to work things out, but her mom convinced her she cheated because she was unhappy with me. It was a very high-conflict divorce, and at first, I made a few bad decisions. Trust letting her have access to our joint bank account. I had a ton of false police allegations against me and CPS calls, so I put everything up to a camera. I walked with a body cam outdoors. I was utterly self-monitored to avoid allegations. A week after I put up the cameras, I caught her and her family breaking into my house. Legally speaking, she did not get arrested because we were still married, but it does look bad in court. However, I took my lawyer's advice and the custody my state gives fathers. Fortunately for me, she fell in love with someone in a European country and handed away most of the rights to my son. Most as in, I got full custody, but she retained legal custody, i.e., she could pull him out of school or get his medical records, etc. My lawyer said this protected me if we went back to court because she would probably win that before, and I would look bad. 1 year later she is getting divorced a second time and moving in with our mutual friend. The divorce happened about a month ago, and during this time, she has not attempted to visit my son. Side note here, my lawyer advised me to play it cool, don't antagonize, don't withhold our son. Also, he told me to buy a house. I am in a position to now, and set down roots to make it harder to take him away from me. Again, our divorce was a high conflict, and I was terrified she would try and take him from me. I am more than willing to allow her to see her son, and I want to do the right thing, and let my son grow up happy. Honestly, that's all I care about. Her history says she is highly volatile, and I am concerned. Current problem, here's where I need advice. I don't want to bury the lead here, so the crux is that she wants to move in for a few weeks until her YouTube career takes off. I am not insane, so I do not have any confidence in said career. I also question her mental health, for reasons listed below. Reddit, what do? Our mutual friends, a couple with 3 children, grew tired of Petunia, and for a good reason. They assumed she would do the usual thing. Get a job and get back up on her feet. They also work very hard and sometimes struggle to get by, so working 10 hours a day to come home to someone doing absolutely nothing is very discouraging. They gave her a deadline to get out, or they would involve legal matters. That deadline is in a few days. So Petunia has decided to call me and ask if she could live with me for a few weeks. Petunia joined some New Age religion. There is a lot of detail to share here, but I want to leave the tangent manageable. Instead, I will link you over to the Aetherius Society. She denies it by name, but line by line, that's what she believes in. I am religious, so I am careful not to make fun of other religions. It would not be sincere of me to do so. But it started with a tarot reading, which led to going onto TikTok, and she believes that she is a starseed and an ancient alien who came to spread light to the world. It seems like a mix of paganism, Buddhism, and other spiritual things mashed into one. I am trying not to rant about reincarnations and talking with aliens here, so I've deleted many paragraphs of the issues I take with it. She thinks she is a chosen being, risen above the masses, and of course, that plays strongly into the ego. Everyone internally wants to feel like they are unique, and believing you are of some royal bloodline feeds into that. Right now, I am legitimately suspecting mental illness. Our mutual friends tell me that they don't recognize her anymore and that she is being secretive and not letting them know what's happening. I'm a single dad with 100% custody and zero support from the other parent. My dating life is also not looking up, but I have a promising career, and we get by. I am incredibly fortunate in a lot of ways. I've been getting a ton of therapy for my codependent behaviors, and I don't need this. She tells me she will be homeless if I don't take her in. She is not speaking with her immediate family because she moved to another country. If I let her in, though, it will seriously affect my mental health. What the heck do I do? I am leaning towards calling her bluff and letting her figure it out, though it appears she will never get a job. Would the courts hate that? I am very uncomfortable with this position. Ton of false police allegations against me and CPS calls, and #X200B. Go no further. Do you want to invite this back into your life? You are not responsible for her. If you let her move in, it will seriously impact your son's mental health, and not in a good way. If she ends up homeless, it will be solely due to her own bad decisions. If you want, call your attorney and ask them to be sure you aren't screwing yourself over somehow. If you have any evidence of her insane beliefs, keep it. I can't see the court being upset. You don't want someone you feel is genuinely mentally ill living with your child, but ask to be sure. Hell to the no. Sure, she's the mother of your child, but you have no obligation to house her, period. It's not an amicable relationship with someone you still trust to at least be responsible. It's clear that this would be detrimental to both you and your son's lives and likely stability. That's not fair to either of you. Not your circus, not your monkeys. No. She gets what she gets. Don't let her move in or else you will regret it in more than one way, considering all the details that you have shared. Consult with your lawyer ASAP. Install cameras in and around your home. Any communication with her should be recorded or through text, email. Don't let her have free access to your kid. Let her supervise visits in public places only. She can't just walk away and get back to start from where she left. It will impact your child negatively. 31F. Regret telling my girlfriend, 32F, she could move in with me. I met my girlfriend at work 4 months ago. I know you're not supposed to date coworkers, but I just went for it. We were really attracted to each other and hooked up the first time we ever hung out outside of work, like after 2 weeks of me being there. A few weeks later, she asks me on a date, it goes well, we start dating. After we became official, drama started. We went to a Dodger game with some other coworkers and I got alcohol poisoning and ended up in the hospital. She got mad at me and broke up with me. Week later or so we get back together. It just started a horrible cycle of toxicity, emotional abuse, fighting, breaking up, and getting back together. She is an alcoholic and I drink my fair share, so we often get drunk and get in fights. She doesn't treat me very well. She berates me, dislikes aspects of my personality that make me, is controlling, overly emotional and gets angry at me about relatively small things. I can't stand it. Last month we got drunk and decided to move in together. She had been asking me for weeks and I wasn't into it but was too scared to tell her. I got drunk and said, sure, move on in. I figured it would be a good idea because it would help me save a ton of money, as I'm kind of struggling financially right now. Anyway, she moves in next Friday. We've been fighting a decent amount the past month. Last fight I told her I didn't want her to move in and she guilt-tripped me saying she'd be homeless if she didn't move in with me. Yesterday she started moving some stuff into my place and it finally feels real to me. I do not want to live with this woman. I emotionally will not be able to do it. I don't even want to be in a relationship. I'm pretty sure she's a narcissist and she really hurts my feelings a lot and I just can't deal with that. What the hell do I do? I know I can't go back in time and fix the mistakes that led to this. How do I tell her I don't want her to move in? Wouldn't it be such a dick move to change my mind less than 1 week ahead of the move-in date? I feel terrible. Edit. Okay, thanks for everyone's helpful, kind, sympathetic, harsh, sometimes rude, but altogether sobering, no pun intended, comments. I finally put my foot down and told her I cannot live with her or be in a relationship with her. I apologized for making the decision in the first place and expressed I have no malice towards her. I just don't think we're compatible as a couple. She put up a fight and tried to object and refuse, but I held my ground. She is going to remove the belongings she brought to my place, and she is going to stay with a coworker, lol. She's always wanted to move out of our city and now this is motivating her to move by the end of the year. I'm honestly kind of happy for her. And I feel unbelievably relieved. This has been a huge learning experience. I have so much healing to do before I can even think of being in a serious relationship. And I'm never going to allow myself to get into or stay in a toxic relationship ever again. I can't believe this is finally over. This has been the longest and some of the worst 4 months of my life. Now I can finally breathe again. Wouldn't it be such a dick move to change my mind less than 1 week ahead of the move-in date? It's not as bad as letting her move in. You need to get far away from this woman. The longer you wait to tell her, the harder it gets. You are a grown-up, speak up for yourself. She'd be homeless if she didn't move in with me. Where did she live before? How the hell did you afford to get alcohol poisoning at a Dodgers game? That's so much money on booze. You keep this up, one of you will go to jail eventually, I promise. I changed my mind. You can't move in. If she has a key, already change the locks and have a backbone and pumo her. My 36 female partner, 39 male, was supportive when I first told him I was pregnant. Then things changed. I found out I was pregnant less than a year into the relationship. It was unplanned and I regret not being more careful. I have a child, 6 male, from a previous relationship. When I told my partner about the pregnancy, I told him I thought an abortion would be best, but I didn't know if I could go through with it. However, I was concerned about being able to provide for my son with a new baby. I also wasn't sure it was the right time for me emotionally. He said he really wanted to have a baby with me but loved me and would support me if I chose an abortion. He got very upset, saying he was a failure for not being able to provide the stability I needed. Feeling bad for him and wanting to know I was making an informed decision, I started to look at what options would be available to me if I kept the baby. I contacted a number of support services etc. to find out more about my options. I found there were options there and I started to consider the possibility of having the baby. While he was scared, he said he wanted this baby so much and started planning how we might manage as a family. I also spoke to a clinic about the abortion as I wanted to keep this option open until I was decided. I told him I still hadn't made a decision as I wanted to work through my emotions. I booked in therapy but there was a short wait. Before I was able to have it, my partner suddenly changed his mind. He told me I needed to end the pregnancy. I was shocked as it was his emotions that had led me to explore my options. He repeated several times that I had to do it, have the abortion, so I told him it was my choice and still wanted to have the therapy so I could decide what was right for me. It transpired that, without telling me, he had sat down with his family to discuss the pregnancy. He told me they had decided that I was failing my son and he would be taken away from me and put into care. He said he and his family wanted nothing to do with the baby. I knew what he was saying about my son was untrue, but he wouldn't listen and he has completely ghosted me since, even when I asked for emotional support talking to the abortion clinic. I continued with my therapy and decided that I would end the pregnancy, in part because I felt emotionally I couldn't do it alone. I had the termination a couple of weeks ago but haven't told him yet. I have spoken to a few close friends and they have differing opinions. Some say he is scared and immature with a controlling family and I should not think too harshly of him. Others say he has acted inappropriately, betrayed my trust, taken away my choice and abandoned me. Should I contact him to tell him what was wrong with his actions? Should I notify him of the abortion? Will I be able to live with the knowledge that the pressure he put on me influenced my decision? Honey, I'm so sorry for being so blunt, but do you really want to have a child with this man? He's nearly 40. He's way too old to run to mummy and daddy. I assume he is not being fully honest with what they said. I assume they said something more like, if you have this baby, don't expect us to provide childcare or money. While that is harsh, if he has a habit of running to them to fix his problems, maybe they had to be harsh. I think you should ghost and block him. Let him spend the rest of his life wondering if he has a kid. If he contacts you in the future, ignore him. I am sorry that this happened to you. Get all the support you need. Don't listen to people who make excuses for him. Getting you pregnant and ghosting you is unforgivable. Why do you want to speak to him again? Sorry if that's a stupid question, but I'm trying to figure out what you are hoping will happen if you speak to him. If I were in your situation, there's no way I'd contact this guy ever again, for what it's worth. He's shown you how pathetic he is. He certainly doesn't care what you think of him. I mean, if he cared about your opinion and feelings, he wouldn't have done what he did. Just block him. Do you really want to be with this kind of man? And have a kid with him? I think you know everything you need to know about this man, which is that he is not boyfriend material. I don't think you need to contact him about anything at all, ever.